What is going on out there? Things are starting to look very, very good for us, you guys. So look, all kinds of news over the night came in about Zurfi. It looks like, well, there's a difference between expectation and reality. So we'll go over that here in a second. Just a quick reminder. Well, before we get into that, I just wanted to show you that. Look at the markets are rebounding. They're looking good. And we haven't even got out of this coronavirus thing. And we're already back up to 23,000. All right. So the market is rebounding pretty good considering we haven't even gone back to work, which is very interesting to say the least. Gold and silver seem to be kicking butt here. I want this to come down more personally myself. Last night, big cryptocurrencies came down a little bit, and already they're hitting back up again today. So a quick market correction and already back up. Okay, as a quick reminder, if you haven't already, I have a Facebook group with the same name as the YouTube channel. So I encourage you to go ahead and join. In here, we have all types of information regarding the Iraqi dinar, the Vietnam dong, the Zim dollar, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of people in here to talk about a lot of different things. If you have questions, this is a great place to ask questions. There's a lot of knowledgeable people in here. So again, I'll leave a link to the YouTube group, or yeah, to my YouTube group, to my Facebook group, and I encourage you to join. Also on there, because people keep asking me where to buy cryptocurrencies, there is a link that'll take you to Coinbase. If you follow that link, they'll give you 10 free dollars just for signing up. And once you become a member, if you scroll down, there's a little blue box that says earn more cryptos. You can earn up to 160 bucks of free cryptocurrencies, all right? So a quick review of the daily auctions. As I told you yesterday, there's no auctions because I believe the bank is only open about 2-3 days a week. So there was nothing yesterday. We know we went over what they sold on Monday. On Monday, you see the digital currency. There was an auction in which they sold 245,669,143 digital dollars were auctioned off. There was no cash currencies because I told you this is a financial crisis, and they won't part with those dollars just because the U.S. dollars is the dollars that a lot of countries fall back on. So that's not a problem. But they were able to auction off a lot of the money then. As of yesterday, there was an auction again. And in this case, again, they're not going to part with their cash. No country will part with physical cashes during a time of financial crisis. But they did auction off more digital dollars, as you can see here, as clear as day. $234,710,676 were auctioned off, okay? And you can see, because it tells you the total sales here. It doesn't say auction cash only. No, it just says these are the auction numbers, period. And the total number of sales are here. As a matter of fact, here, if you want to see if these are the right numbers, if you go back in auctions, they always sell very little cash. You can go back to the daily auctions. You'll never see, when we see the daily auctions, we see them in the hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions. And if you think I'm wrong, well, let's just take a gander at one of the older ones. Let's go back in time a little bit here, all right? Let's go back here. And remember, in the daily auctions used to happen every day. They were partnering with digitals as well as this. Look at this. The physical cash, you're only going to see very little amount. The daily auctions were always in the hundreds of millions. Always. You never seen them shorter than this. So I challenge anybody to come through all these daily auctions and see if we sell hundreds of millions of the cash itself. So just so you know, because people keep asking me, yes, the daily auctions have started up again. They told you they started up again, and you can see that they started up again. This is the cash that a daily digital cash that they auction off. This is the physical cash, just so you guys are aware. And you can see the total. You can go back throughout all the time. Go look at all the news articles that we went over. They show you the daily auctions, and the auctions are always in the hundreds of millions. Not just 25 or 10 or whatever. They're always in the hundreds of millions. So yes, the auctions have started back up again. And so nonetheless, they are selling off the digitals, but wisely, they are not selling their physical cash, and they're not going to part with it, okay? So look at number of banks that took place, money transfers that took place, the amounts sold at the auctions. Look at, okay? Let's see if we can find other versions of this too. Let's scroll up a few just so we can look at them. But anyways, nonetheless, I'm just showing you guys how to read these little boogers so that you know. So you can see what happens is they're never just 20 million, 10 million. No, that's the total number of currencies sold. And that's a combination of both cash and digital currency. So the auctions absolutely are going. Okay, so not that it's a big deal. I don't think anybody, with the exception of one person, has tied anything to the auctions. I know we talked about wanting them to stop for one reason or another. So I don't think it's a big deal that they're going, to be quite honest with you. So we'll just keep monitoring that. You can see the caches. We know that the auctions are always in the hundreds of millions. You won't find a cash auction in the hundreds of millions. So this isn't just the auction. This is the total amount of the auctions. All right. So just so you guys know, again, the auctions have started up. And now, again, I told you that the banks are not open every single day. That has not been the case. They announced to everybody that they would be open in maybe 2 or 3 days a week, I think is what it is. Okay, so the auction was held yesterday, and we could see as clear as day that the digital currency that was auctioned off was 234,710,676. All right, so if you guys go back in time and you look at the auctions, they will show you the total amounts. We're never in the tens of millions. They were always in the hundreds of millions, okay? So what I was talking about was this. Look at Zurfi. There seems to be some kind of semi-standout happening, but there is this overwhelming majority feel like Zurfi is going to be the new PM. So this is good. Remember, we're talking about stability in Iraq, all right? We know that the stability in Iraq is really important to our cause. But again, more importantly, it's for the people of Iraq. There's no reason for that country to be where they are. Now, there's been some issues that have been between, it looks to me like the issue that Zurfi might have, there's a little bit of people that are the Kurds that are semi-resisting, but for the most part, he's got the support of the Kurdish people. The Shiites, on the other hand, are a little bit different. Their voting bloc, there's a lot of resistance there. They are one of the largest voting blocks in there, and that has to do because they're backed by Iran. But as you go through these articles, you're going to see there's an overwhelming consensus that if Zurfi gets in office, he's going to push out all of the Iranian-backed politicians. I think that's the biggest fear that they have. All right, so as you go through here, you will find this. So here's the other guy that the Maliki's people. Oh, well, here it says he's refusing to nominate Al-Kazimi as prime minister, which is really interesting because I've read several articles where that was the guy they wanted to put up against Zurfi. All right, and so now all of a sudden they don't seem to be supporting him at all. So anyways, as you go on, there's a lot of articles in here that are saying that this man is filling his cabinet members up with a combination of Kurds as well as a couple of Shiite people. So what happens is, I think the feeling is if this man fills his cabinet members up with one of their own in there, then they might feel a little bit more comfortable about his nomination. But again, I think this guy is determined with the help of Pompeo and with the Trump administration of getting into office and pushing out the Iranian influence as quickly as possible. Here's why I think their approach is going to be. Their approach is going to be that, they start exposing their corruption, and that's going to be their excuse to remove them. And then we're going to start filling up the government with pro-Iraqi people and not pro-Iranian people. Okay, so again, this is looking good. I mean, I've read several articles on several news sites where, so the parliament is considering holding a virtual session, virtual session. Let me get that damn word out. A virtual session to go ahead and just do the voting. So I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I know for us to do something along those lines would not be acceptable because of all the cheating that takes place here in the United States. Okay. Look, you can see here, Zurfi nor Kazim disclosure of a political maneuver leading to the retention of Mahdi. I don't think they're going to do anything to keep this guy in office. This guy hasn't done a whole lot. Okay, so this is this guy they're talking about, Al Kazim. This guy always looks like is it me? Does he look like the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas? He always looks surprisingly. So after accusing him of complicity in the assassination of Soleimani, the engineering, the factions, the government do not mind Al Kazim. Okay, so he helped engineer and set up the assassination of Soleimani. I'm surprised this guy's still alive. Okay, so as of yesterday evening, the talk about the head of the intelligence agency, Kazim, as a candidate to form an Iraq government was just speculation, especially since many armed factions and Shiite political blocs made serious accusations against al-Kazim. Former Iranian Soleimani, the general there, and vice president of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Authority, Mahdi, and Muhandis. Okay, so also Al-Kazim described as an American fancy and therefore not different from the current official, Zurfi. In other words, they're pro-American people is the issue. It's funny how, because this guy here was the front guy for a lot of the Shiite forces and the political blocs until yesterday, I guess, a rumor came out that this guy was behind and helped pinpoint Soleimani and was part of the reason for the assassination. So it's funny how all of a sudden they turned their back on this guy. So look, it's looking good. I know this man is in there doing what he can to negotiate, making sure that he gets in as smoothly as possible. Although the funny thing is, look, okay, here you go, look at this. Zarfi's victory will represent a decline in Iranian influence in Iraq for the first time. All right, so let's hope that this guy gets in here, because I really anticipate this guy doing some really great things. I really do. He's pro-American, as you know. He was here for a while. He carried dual citizenship, or he's dual nationalized. He did go ahead and surrender his citizenship to the United States in order for him to run for this office. So, you know, hey, let's hope he gets in there. It's starting to look really good. Also, just so you know, the Americans and the coalitions have pulled out of another military site. So I think Trump said he was pulling out of, like, there's 8 of them, pulling out 3. But according to this, I believe this is their 4th or 6th one. Let's see, an international coalition mission decided to withdraw from the, Abu Ghraib. I don't know how to say that. Who cares? Military base west of Baghdad, and to hand it over to the site to Iraqi forces within the coming hours. In this base will be the 6th Iraq military site from which the U.S.-led international coalition forces will withdraw from in the recent period. So remember, before there's only 3. Now this is the 6th one. So I told you, but Trump is not playing around no more with these people. Instead of having all these bases and having Americans as targets, what they are doing is they're just strategically striking places now. This is a great move. It reduces the amount of American lives that are possible targets. But it also, again, like we said, kick off the training wheels and start making Iraq people fight for their own. Okay, so that's what we're seeing happening. So again, there's just a lot of news regarding this movement of making sure, you know, Zurfi gets in there, gets nominated. Mahmoud, the deadline for submitting the Al-Zarfia booth expires after 9 days, and the voting session will be held on Thursday or Saturday. I'm anticipating Thursday to get in there. They're not going to let this coronavirus prevent them from doing what they need to do. So again, you guys, so far the news, it just looks good. It looks like we're going to get our guy in there, and he has already established the government. And he's ready to submit him, or I think he has submitted him, and we'll be seeing something happen at the end of this week. At the very least, next week, we'll know either way. I'm thinking, here's my thought on this whole process. If Zurfi gets in there and gets his cabinet established and gets the protesters calmed down, I anticipate this happening very quickly. You know, at the same time, I told you Trump had put in a new approach towards Iraq, which is to get in there and just strategically strike all of these so-called proxy militants, these pro-Iranian militias, and get them taken out. So I have a feeling that once this guy gets in there, you're going to see a quick strike is what you're going to see, and not just in Iraq, in my opinion. I think you're going to see it in surrounding countries. This is just a one-time try to end all. Let's see if it actually is successful. And don't be surprised that once this guy's in here and he gets his cabinet going, how quickly you're going to see everything that was needed to pass get passed, and then shortly after that, see the rate change happen. And I think this is all going to happen faster than people think, faster than people anticipate happening. I think this is one of the ways that Trump's going to help his pro-American guy once he gets in office. Again, there's no way to know. We're hoping he gets in there, but I think that's one of the ways that Trump is going to help his candidate get a strong foothold into his government, in with his people, is to just do something about the rate change and help the Iraqi people out. All right. Again, it's looking good. Zurfi has a lot of support. Auctions are still going. You can see, again, they auctioned off 234,710,676 of the digital currencies were auctioned off. As I told you before, they are not going to auction off physical dollars. You're not going to see that happen until they really feel like they are out of the woodworks, okay? And once again, if you want to double check it, if you remember all the past auctions, they were always in the hundreds of millions, not tens of millions. They have and always been in the hundreds of millions. This is how you know the auction is going. So it looks good. The auction, I think, is just their way of, again, supporting their exchange rate. And for many of you, I'm sure you guys already know, as soon as the equipment is checked and we look good to go, I'm anticipating a live show tonight, and I hope you guys will all join us, but I'll make it official once I know it's doable. Okay, so just kind of tune in and keep an eye in the Facebook group if you're there for me to make that announcement. And for those of you, I highly recommend you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button, because this is a live show you will not want to miss. Okay, all right then, you guys, it's looking good. It's looking very good. I'll talk to you later.